Let's come back to, you are definitely in court trying to reclaim your mandate, if I'm guessing you right, or if I'm judging you right.
Yes.
What are your experiences at the polls, to start with?
I believe that the polls I was overwhelmingly voted for. I look at the whole scenario. You enter every local government, when you hear the exit polls, that's when people talk about what occurred directly at the polling units, you know Labour Party won. I know I won. And when you look at it, in some of the places, we won clearly, without any arguments, as they are unassailable. Then if you look at the places where they say I didn't win, you see that it has mutilated results. So there's evidence of manipulations even on the face of the document. So I believe I won. And without going too much into details about it, since we are in court, I also believe that in the court we'll win. I have watched the lawyers do their things. I have implicit confidence in my lawyers. I've listened to them. I've seen the documents they filed. Well, I just believe that man can only do what he can do and leave the rest to God. But on the basis of the election, I won. I won in almost all the local governments. A few of them that I didn't win decisively, yes, the margins were not that much. But when you come down to the final results, I won. But however, what was published is what is published, and that is what is being used now, which is why we are in court, to see that that is corrected. Because if there's a heist, you can appeal to the court to intervene and see that justice is done, which is what I'm doing, and I'm just leaving it at that. I don't want to go too much into details about what's happening in the courtrooms.
That's it. You're a lawyer, and that gives me, or gives us a perspective on the Nigerian system. From the much you know, from the much you have seen, how much responsibility do you think is being placed on the judiciary in this democratic experiment?
For today, in this country, the judiciary has an awesome responsibility. It carries the hopes and aspirations of the Nigerians in its hands. If the judiciary sits up to the responsibility, you know, ordinarily, the judiciary has always been the hope of everybody. It's the hope of the executive, it's the hope of the leader, it's the hope of the follower. Because ultimately, everybody must come to the judiciary for interpretation and for succor. In this present circumstance, where you see things are obvious to people going wrong, Nigerians look up to the judiciary to stand strong and ensure that Nigeria as a nation thrives. Because if law and justice thrives in a country, the country itself thrives. But where law and justice becomes bastardized, before long everything descends to anarchy. So that is why I believe that in this country and in most countries, the judiciary is extremely important. No matter how they are doing their job, they are extremely important to the growth and well-being of the country. So I believe that people should support them to do their work. And I believe that as much as possible, they will try to do what is right.
Let's move away from the polls, the law courts, okay, to your experiences cumulatively. What has this time shown you about Nigerians and their aspirations? Having gone through the electoral process, the people's disposition towards leadership, what has that taught you about people and their inclination towards how they are being governed?
You must recognize one fact. Nigerians have suffered a lot. They have suffered under bad leadership a lot. And people initially were, lethargic. They were reluctant to do much. They know that they are being misruled or being mishandled, but you just feel, what can I do about it? But in this present dispensation, with the young generation of today, they are not given any quarters. They believe they have a right to good leadership. And there's so much how far you can push them towards something that is wrong. And there will be a rebound. So as we go further, we believe that accountability will begin to increase in the country. If you talk about people's aspiration, without sounding immodest, I think that Labour Party much more represent people's expectations of what should be the country's, what leadership should look like in the country. People want things to work. People want, if things are working, and that is one thing I've realized from watching people, if things are being done right, even the people who lose out find it easier to hold on to their loss and nurse it. What causes most of these things you see in the country is when people know that they are being robbed, that these things that we are seeing are not the things that ought to be. Then even people who should not ordinarily have something to say will begin to make inroads. Nigeria wants good leadership. I think that's what we want. We just want good leadership. Direct people. Do things. If they want to, if you say you want to do road. Let people be able to pass. If an area is insecure, provide security for the people. Nigerians are enterprising. In fact, if you put proper conditions available for the country people, not many people will be asking you to provide them government work. Just take a simple person now. A person went to go and learn welding. I'll give you an example, a simple example now. You went to learn welding. You finish doing it, then you come to start the work. In this my village here, NEPA will bring light, maybe at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and give it to you for 1 hour. And take it, and bring it again by 11 in the night, and take it before you wake up. That is not light. Now, if that person tries that welding work for some time and he sees that he's not able to survive on it, not because he's not hardworking, but because the condition for him to strive in it is not there, he will abandon that work. So we keep saying people are unemployed. People are not employed because they want to be unemployed. They are unemployed because the circumstances for them to thrive is not existing. That is why you see that we are keep hammering that let the government be populated by people who want to do the right thing. Because if they keep doing, if you hear the kind of figures they've used to put light in the country, if you hear the figures, sometimes it's almost giving you ear pain. That how can Nigeria spend this quantity of money and we have nothing to show for it? And you hear what it costs to do the same type of services in other countries. So what Nigerians seek for is just good governance. Put the correct conditions for them, they will thrive. If you want to know whether Nigerians will thrive, check whichever country we go to, where conditions are put in place. You see that we thrive everywhere. We thrive in Europe, we thrive in America, we thrive even in African countries here. We thrive everywhere except in our country because of bad leadership. You asked me before, why do I follow the things to be said? That is just it. In every place where he has put his hands, he shows that he can do it. And that's what Nigerians are looking for. That's why you see that he's being followed all over the place. That's why you see that even Labour Party is being followed. It's because of the fact that people know that these people want to do the things that is right so that the country may take its right trajectory.